Alright, so this is a video on how to make the storage box for the magnetic base and the dial indicator. Okay, so now we're going to check that our edges are square and then spray some bluing paint over top. Alright, so when you're spraying the bluing, you don't want to go crazy with it. It shouldn't look wet. I sprayed it a little bit too much in these two spots. And you also only need to spray it where you're actually going to be marking out. Alright, so now we're going to start the layout part of this project, which is by far the most important part. You don't want to mess this up, or else it will not work. All your angles will be wrong and it won't work. So take a lot of time on this and make sure it's done right. So now we're gonna drill our holes and then cut off the excess metal. When you're drilling holes, make sure you have a piece of wood or something underneath your work so that you don't drill into the table. And that's about it. So we cut the edges and ground them smooth, so we're ready to bend them up in the auto body room. This is the box and pan brake. It's what you use to bend all your sheet metal. So you put your metal in here, you pull the red handle and it clamps it down, and then you can pull this green handle down here to bend it. These metal pieces can be removed based on the size of what you're bending. So you just take out these fasteners here with an Allen key, and then this can just come right out. Before you bend anything, make sure that this edge here is straight. Alright, so you want to make sure that before you bend, you line it up. So you have your bending edge right here perfectly lined up with the line that you scratched into your metal. And then once it is done, you take a square and you put it on this edge to make sure that it's 90 degrees.
Okay, now we've bent up all the sides of our box. We're ready to weld. Two sides, two corners are going to be MIG and two corners are going to be brazed. Basically, the gear you're going to need, you're going to need a helmet, gloves, safety glasses. Okay, so we're ready to braze now. Gonna make sure you get your goggles, gloves, and for 16 gauge rod, or 16 gauge steel, we're gonna use 3 30-second rod. It melts the best for that thickness of steel. Okay, so now we've MIG'd 2 corners. Now we're ready to braze the 2 corners. The setup that I've found best for doing 16 gauge steel and doing a corner weld is oxygen at around 10 psi and acetylene at around 5 psi, and use a number 0 tip.
Alright, so once you have your box all welded up, go get your corners checked by your instructor, and then once you get them marked, you can grind them down and make them nice and smooth.